They say love is patient, love is kind. But sometimes love is blind, especially when it comes wrapped in the promises of forever. Emily Carter was one of those women who carried her heart openly, like a flame cupped between trembling fingers. At 29, she had a soft spirit, not from weakness but from the strength it took to stay gentle in a world that hadn't always been kind. She worked as a preschool teacher in a small town in Oregon, where everyone knew everyone, and smiles were exchanged like spare change. She loved kids, loved the laughter, the chaos, the purity. But what she loved most of all was the idea of a love that felt like home. That's what she thought she had with Jason Reed. Jason was charming, the kind of man who could walk into a room and shift the atmosphere just by flashing his crooked smile. He was tall, athletic, and had a rugged handsomeness that made people turn twice. He ran a local auto repair shop he'd inherited from his father, and he carried himself with the ease of someone who knew people liked him. Emily and Jason met at a charity fundraiser 2 years ago. It was a chilly spring night, and she'd just finished organizing a book drive for the kids. Jason had volunteered to handle parking. He was funny, kind, and had helped her carry boxes to her car, cracking jokes the whole time. She remembered the way he'd looked at her, as though he saw her for more than just the quiet girl with a clipboard. Things moved quickly after that. Dinners turned into weekends, and soon, Emily found herself practically living at Jason's place. He was attentive at first, brought her coffee, kissed her forehead in the mornings, even memorized her favorite takeout orders. He'd leave notes on the bathroom mirror that said things like, "Can't believe I got so lucky," or "You're the best part of my day." But as months passed, something shifted. The good mornings became grunts. The compliments disappeared like steam off a kettle. Emily tried not to notice. She told herself relationships change. That real love is work. That maybe he was just tired. She gave more, hoping it would reignite what they once had. Jason, however, had begun to pull away. He started staying out late. He'd blame it on work, but his stories never added up. Emily found herself checking her phone obsessively, waiting for texts that never came. And when he was home, he was distant, emotionally unavailable, always distracted. She'd ask if something was wrong and he'd scoff. "Why do you always assume the worst? Can't a guy have a bad day?" The emotional bruises started to pile up. One night, Emily cooked his favorite meal, grilled salmon with garlic mashed potatoes. She even wore the green dress he once said made her look like a painting come to life. He came in late, eyes glassy, reeking of alcohol. She smiled through her disappointment and said, "I made dinner." He glanced at the table and muttered, "I already ate," before brushing past her. That night, she cried herself to sleep, facing the cold side of the bed that Jason had occupied without warmth for weeks. Emily confided in her best friend, Sarah, who had seen the change too. "You're not crazy, Em," she said during one of their coffee chats. "He's not the man he pretended to be. You deserve someone who doesn't make you beg for affection." But Emily wasn't ready to walk away. Not yet. She held on to the hope that the man she fell in love with would come back. That maybe if she loved him harder, he'd remember how to love her right. One day everything came crashing down. Emily was cleaning up Jason's apartment while he was at work. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. The screen lit up with a name she didn't recognize. Melissa Redhart. The message read, "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you." Her heart dropped. She didn't snoop. She didn't need to. That one message told her everything. She sat on the edge of the bed, numb. All the pieces she had ignored fell into place. The late nights, the lies, the detachment. Jason hadn't just stopped loving her. He had chosen someone else while still expecting her to stay loyal, hopeful, and blind. When Jason came home, Emily was waiting. She wasn't crying. She wasn't yelling. She was quiet, too quiet. "I know about Melissa," she said simply. Jason froze. "What are you talking about?" "Your phone lit up. I saw the message. You don't have to lie anymore." He stammered, tried to deflect, but Emily stood firm. For the first time in months, she saw herself clearly. She wasn't weak. She wasn't desperate. She had been good to him. Honest, loving, patient. And he had broken something that couldn't be fixed with apologies. "I'm done, Jason," she said. "Not just with this relationship, but with trying to convince someone to love me." Jason looked shocked. Maybe he thought she'd cry, beg, scream. But she didn't. She just walked away, and this time she didn't look back. The days after were hard. There were nights when loneliness crept in like fog. But slowly, Emily began to find herself again. She started going to yoga, took painting classes, spent weekends with her niece. She stopped waiting for her phone to ring. She started filling her life with things that made her feel whole. Word got around town. People whispered about the breakup, but Emily didn't care. She carried herself with a new strength. She smiled more, not because someone told her to, but because it felt good. Jason, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. Melissa didn't stick around. She had her fun and moved on. Jason tried to reach out to Emily. Called, texted, even showed up at her school once. But Emily politely asked him to leave. "You had your chance," she told him. "And you showed me who you are." Jason would later sit alone in the garage, staring at the pictures on his wall, wondering how he let a good woman slip through his fingers. He would remember her laugh, the way she used to dance in the kitchen, how she supported him even when he didn't deserve it. But by then, Emily had moved on. She met someone new a year later. His name was Daniel, a quiet man with kind eyes who never made her question her worth. He didn't come with grand gestures or smooth words. He came with consistency, respect, and a gentle love that grew slowly but surely. He asked questions about her day and listened without trying to fix everything. He celebrated her wins and comforted her through losses. He loved her in a way that didn't make her feel like she was too much or not enough. And in that love, Emily bloomed. She never forgot what Jason did. But instead of bitterness, she held gratitude. Because losing Jason had taught her how to never lose herself again. It taught her that being a good woman wasn't a weakness. It was a rare kind of strength. One that could bend but never break. And Jason, he would spend years trying to replicate what he had with Emily. But good women don't wait forever. And once they learn their worth, there's no going back. When a man hurts a good woman, she doesn't just walk away. She grows, glows, and becomes the lesson he never forgets.